So we bid on a pallet of 40 of these 48 volt UPS batteries from Battery Hookup, and this is what we got. There should be 40 in these boxes here, and we're going to go ahead and parallel a bunch of these. You look at them and you might think they're easy to parallel, but they're not that easy because they have the terminals in the middle. So the first thing we're going to do is snip these fuse wires here that go down to the stock battery management board that's on here and get all of this off. You also have to snip the thermal wires, and got a thermal wire here, thermal wire there, and a thermal wire there. So once we do that, there's 4 screws. You can see we've taken these ones out already. There's a screw there, and a screw there, and a screw there, and a screw there. We've already gotten that one out. So it's kind of under this black material. You just kind of stick your screwdriver in there and you take it out. So once you do that and you take those screws out, it's just a matter of lifting the BMU board up, making sure you got all the wires snipped. Sometimes you bend them back. Don't bend them back down onto this metal, all of them, and touch that. Just be careful while you're doing this. It's hard to do one-handed, but we're going to go ahead and do all of these, do a bunch of these, at least 5 of them. All right, so here they are, individual. You got one of these is a 6S, or sorry, one of them's a 7S, one of them's a 6S, and you'll see that once we take these metal end caps off. All right, so you can see we got all the 7S's right here, all the 6S's right here. And so our next step, what I do is I just take a grinder and I grind off this tall side of the plastic so I can stack them on top of each other. All right, you can see we got the plastic piece ground off on all of these. So now we just got to stack them all the same way. So we'll just pull these tabs back up. We got just electrical tape around them for now to hold them together. We're just going to run nickel strip, spot weld it all the way up here, get some good connections on each one. We got our first one all paralleled, and we're just going to wait for our spot welder to cool down. These things, like these Chinese things, like to overheat, and I've had them just die on me. So let it cool down, and then we'll do some better spot welds along here down the middle of this, and then we'll do the other one and we'll put them together and put the BMS on it. You can see these are the 6S ones. You can see the 4 cells here are missing out of this side. So we're just going to parallel these together. All right, so we got everything packed together and we wired our BMS leads onto the cells in sequence. So we had our main negative, which same terminal here to our main negative. So there was already solder on there, so we didn't have to put any solder on. We just soldered these on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then right. Oh, and then there's one under here. So yeah, there's one under there for the other side of this. And then it of course jumps across here over to this side. So this connection here is the same as this connection here. So it's best if you take your BMS lead and you split the difference between the two, between this connection and this connection. Otherwise, under load, this will look as if it dips harder. The voltage dips harder here, and the BMS will think the battery's low. So obviously my best bet probably would be to spot weld a nickel strip straight up and down here. But we do have it spot welded straight up and down the edge here. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that too much. Skip this one because it's the same as this guy here. So then we go to this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and then our main positive, which is right there, which is the same as this one here. And so we're going to hook our BMS up. I did pull off of the middle of the battery for the negative. My goal was to get off the top battery, because otherwise the voltage sags harder up here, because it doesn't have battery on either side of it to fill that that deficit when the golf cart launches and wants to pull the power out of the middle here. So it's just going to be able to pull it from up there instead. And then since my BMS leads are all on the top here, that voltage will look as if it dips harder up here on the BMS when you're driving it. It's just not that big of a deal, but under the bottom end of the battery, when the voltage starts sagging harder because the voltage is getting low and the capacity is draining out of the battery, the BMS will prematurely cut it off when there's probably still actually some capacity in there. But anyways, we're just going to cut these off, put our BMS on, and probably just tape it on there. But that's basically in a nutshell how to build it. We just hook our main negative to here, and our BMS is on technically since the thing is hooked on. And if I switch over to Bluetooth, you'll see the readout of it. All right, so our solar panel and our gator. Will this little lithium battery power this big wheeled gator? It is a shunt motor, so we get regen a little bit out of this thing. So we're gonna drive around. Here's just a couple clips of me driving around with screen recording from the BMS. They're not really matched with my driving, but just for your enjoyment.